Hello there. This is podcast one. We're talking about Web 2 and Web 3, crypto, blockchain, companies, and crypto treasuries. Now, Web 2 is basically the internet we're using now. It's highly centralized. We've got Facebook, Twitter, Google, Microsoft, all those companies doing what they do. And basically you buy applications from them and off you go, you create and you pay license fees and you interact with large companies. Now, by comparison, Web 3 is different. It's more decentralized. It's based on the blockchain, right, which Web 2 isn't. And it's more user empowering. You still pay, but a lot less, and it would appear that you can do more. So it's basically the internet taken and software taken away from the big corporates and given to the developers. And they operate in things like DAOs, distributed autonomous organizations, and foundations, especially with crypto, right? So rather than companies in Web 2. So that's how Web 3 differs. And obviously we're aware of crypto like Bitcoin, Ethereum, the Solana network, Ripple. Now there's things like NFTs, non-fungible tokens. There's meme coins. Now people are talking about brand coins. There's a whole lot of things that trade, go up and down, and you can buy and sell them and hold them. And they have their own sort of value. Whatever that value is highly contested, but their sort of value on the blockchain is different from fiat currencies. And fiat currencies are government-backed. They're created by central banks from governments. Sometimes there's a gold reserve that is in nominal terms backing it, but there's no longer convertibility. That was ended by Richard Nixon in the early 70s. So Web 2 and Web 3 differ fundamentally. And now the question is, okay, well, what do we do with that? Is that important? And if it's important, how is it important? Well, Facebook, now called Meta Platforms, so Facebook, the company, is now called Meta Platforms, they managed to do quite well in 2024, 2025, with their focus on artificial intelligence. They're still very much a marketing tech company, that's what they do, but they seem to be doing extremely well with it. The next question is, well, what do they do if they're a Web 2 company, which they are, and Web 3 says they're going to put them out of business? Well, that's a fair comment. But there's other companies like Snapchat that are also Web 2, and they haven't done as well as Facebook. They were smaller, and they haven't managed to move on. Now, what some companies have done, Facebook hasn't done it, Meta Platforms hasn't done it, and neither have some of the other social media networks. But what some companies have done is set up digital treasuries. So the main one is MicroStrategy, now Strategy, set up by Michael Saylor, and they own quite a lot of Bitcoin, right? And they're now acting as a Bitcoin proxy with their treasury. And other companies are starting to do that, buying 50, 100, 200 million, 300 million, even billions of dollars worth of crypto and saying that they have that as a treasury now, as a store of value, Web3 value. Now, that may be something for Snapchat to consider. It may be something for Facebook, for Meta Platforms to consider, Microsoft, a whole range of others. So maybe the Web 2 companies need to look at Web 3 and think of how they can get involved. But get involved they must. Now, it'll probably be the mother of all transitions from Web 2 to Web 3 because a lot of people haven't even jumped on Web 2 yet. Not everyone has a Facebook page. Not everyone's on Twitter or a range of other those social media sites. People aren't absolutely convinced. Now, the iPad was a great invention. People have taken that up, and people understand that artificial intelligence can be very good in creating your first draft of something and short-circuiting hours of research, days of wondering, curiosity. So people understand that. But if Web 2 still got a way to go in terms of acceptance, and it does, then Web 3 would seemingly have a gargantuan Everest-like task. Because while there are people taking up Web 3 now, it's very early days, and Web 2 hasn't got anywhere near full uptake either. So Web 2 probably has a good future in terms of being the pathway into Web 3. But the Web 2 companies need to see that. They need to see where their future is. They need to see what they can do. They need to see where people are going. And living in an echo chamber and just listening to their own people is not the way to do that. Thanks.